This one is for you priests out there. Now, I have been Catholic my entire life, Catholic educated, and I love my priests. When I was a little girl, I used to look at priests, and if they walked into confession, I would think, priests don't sin? What could they be saying? Of course, that's the naivety of a young girl. But priests were always esteemed, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be today, as you should, as the office dictates. But I do also understand that so many of you, like the people in our culture, are children of divorce. You are now adult children. You have never been married, though I trust you to counsel people most of the time. I'm not one of those that believes, how can you counsel if you've never been married? There's a lot we can see as a third party from the outside. But I will tell you, what you say can make or break or devastate a marriage and a family. I talked yesterday to a woman whose husband was having an affair. The husband had the gall to bring his mistress with him to church and confession, and the priest looked at him. The mistress was a nice person and said, "You probably have grounds for an annulment." What? This was a family priest. The priest knew the wife, the priest knew the husband. Without ever hearing the wife's side, he told the husband he probably had grounds to get out of this marriage and maybe even grounds for an annulment. And he was having an affair. Now, I'm not going to talk about the grounds for the annulment of this couple. But as a priest, first and foremost, your job is to talk to both spouses. Remember, you and I are in the same profession. We are in the marriage saving business. And you might need some pointers from someone who has been married and who also does this, but I do it full time. What a spouse wants to hear is truth from your mouth. They don't need someone who's conflict avoidant. They don't need someone who's just so nice to everyone, because you know what? Jesus wasn't nice to everyone. Jesus spoke the truth, as hard as that was many times, and he spoke it in love. But when he called someone or a brood of vipers, that was still spoken in love because he is the God of love. As a priest, if a man or a woman comes to you and they tell you about the devastation of their marriage, and trust me, I get them daily. Don't automatically assume that everything you are hearing is correct. Hug them, love them, support them, but then make an appointment to talk to the other spouse. Find out what his or her perspective is. Because I will tell you, I have had hundreds of couples come through my door, and almost equally as many say, all my spouse needed was my priest's permission, and they were off. Your job is to look your couple in the face and say, this sounds painful, and I'm sorry, but we can work through this. The church does not allow for divorce. Your insights are so valuable. I need to let you know that as a chosen son of God, your hands are consecrated. God holds you to a higher level than he holds the rest of us. Oh, we have our responsibilities, as you well know. But as a priest of God, I encourage you, I beg you, to not take the conflict avoidant route, to not take the side of the first spouse that comes to you, but to do what is difficult and talk to both spouses separately, and then call them both in and speak to them together. And when you speak to them together, say to them, the church does not condone this behavior. Whether or not infidelity is an issue, or addiction, or pornography, you and I both know that the church allows for a separation so that the troubled spouse can go and get help. But always, as you know the Catechism teaches, in hopes for the reconciliation of the couple. Please, for the love of God, remember, Father, that you have a whole bunch of children in the wake, and they will not get over it. They may be so-called resilient, but as a priest of God, tell that husband and that wife to instead be resilient and fight for their marriages. We're in this together. We're all flawed. We all make mistakes. But this is a new generation. God is rising up men and women like you and like me to say no longer are we just going to go by and think we have to accept divorce. It's just the way of the world. No. Father, you can change. You can change the culture, and so can I. And it only begins by speaking the truth. So I'm here with you, Father, and I'm praying for you. I pray daily for priests, popes, bishops, cardinals. Pray that God gives you wisdom, gives you courage. And for all of you watching this that are not a priest, send this on to the priests you know. Send it with love. But say to them, this is what we want. We want you, Father, to stand for truth. And then support that priest. For those of you watching that are not priests, doubly support the good priests. Doubly support the ones who are fighting like I am to save marriages, because they are fighting against a cultural tide just as you are, just as I am. And they've got a lot of wolves breathing down their backs if they speak the truth, even if they speak it in love. So Father, we Catholics and non-Catholics around the world support you in fighting for marriage. If you need help, because I know you weren't given good catechesis in the seminary about how to fight for marriages, or at least as a whole, give me a call and we can talk. We're in it together. God bless you.